Ball. Round, light, spinning beneath your foot. Throughout human history, no matter what language was spoken, no matter what continent was home, people always kicked a ball. So how did this simple game become the world's greatest passion? Today, we trace football's journey across thousands of years. The story begins roughly 4,000 years ago in China. In the 3rd century BC, a game called Cuju was played across China. Cuju literally meant kick the ball with the foot. Players tried to kick a ball made of silk and leather through a small opening. It wasn't just entertainment, it was also a form of military training. Thousands of kilometers away in ancient Greece, similar games were taking place. A game called Episkyros had 2 teams trying to push a ball past a line on the opposite side. The Romans adopted the idea and developed their own version called Harpastum. It became so popular that Roman legions brought it with them wherever they conquered. Meanwhile, in Central America, the Aztecs and the Maya played ritual games with rubber balls. These games were sometimes deeply intertwined with religious ceremonies. Different continents, different cultures, different rules. But always the same instinct, the urge to move a ball. By the time we reach medieval Europe, football had taken on a very different form. Mob football was a wild game with almost no rules, played by hundreds, sometimes thousands, of people at once. 2 villages or 2 neighborhoods would try to carry a ball to the other side's church or town center. Matches could last for hours. Fields were trampled, windows were broken, and injuries were common. Such chaos naturally drew the attention of authorities. Various English kings attempted to ban the game. The reasoning was simple. Instead of playing football, men should be practicing archery and other military skills. But the bans never worked. People kept playing. The middle of the 19th century marks the most critical turning point in football history. Football was hugely popular in English boarding schools, but there was a serious problem. Every school had its own rules. At Eton, you could use your hands. At rugby, tackling opponents to the ground was normal. At other schools, only feet were allowed. When students from different schools came together, no one agreed on how to play. In 1848, a group of students at Cambridge University gathered to put an end to the confusion. They wrote the first unified set of rules, which became known as the Cambridge Rules. But the real revolution came in 1863. October 26, 1863. At a venue called the Freemasons' Tavern in London, representatives from England's leading football clubs gathered. After hours of debate, the Football Association, the FA, was founded. And football's first official rules were written down. Those rules made one thing absolutely clear. Hands were not to be used. Those who disagreed eventually broke away and developed rugby. Football, meanwhile, claimed its identity as the game of the feet. The English didn't just invent football, they exported it to the world. In the late 19th century, British sailors, merchants, and engineers brought football with them wherever they went. Clubs were formed across South America, continental Europe, and Africa. The game took root quickly. In 1904, in Paris, FIFA was founded with the participation of 7 European nations. The game now had an international governing body. And in 1930, the first FIFA World Cup was held in Uruguay. 13 nations competed. The host nation, Uruguay, were crowned champions. Football was no longer just a game. It was a global event. Today, football is the greatest shared language of humanity, with more than 4 billion fans. A child kicking a ball on a sandy pitch in Brazil. A supporter screaming at a goal from the stands in Spain. A late-night match played in a village in Africa. All pieces of the same story. A story that began thousands of years ago and is still being written today. Football is not just a game. It is humanity itself.